Okay. Well, first part, I came to Florida in 1925. Then I moved around several years after I came down here. But before the war, I had been working at Mountain Lake. And Mountain Lake itself wanted to take the place over and do it. So they let me out. And I started a nursery and flower shop in Lake Wales. I believe that was in 1940, I'm not sure. I can't remember the dates. And from there I went to the service and ready to come home. Then I had a good friend that wanted a nursery down here. So he called my wife and told me not to do anything until he talked to me. So we talked and made a deal. And since I didn't have any money or enough, he loaned me money to buy my part of the shares, which was, at that time, was 40%, I think it was, yeah. So we went from that and started the nursery in January of 1946. The 4th day of January we incorporated. And that's where I went from there to now. And I think we've done pretty good. And let's see.
What about the name of the nursery?
Well, so happened Mr. Gooch Sr. was an interested party, and he and his 2 sons had the balance of the stock. And he came from Goochland County, Virginia. And that's the reason he wanted the Lake part to be named that. Start off with, because everybody in Lake Wales knew I was coming somewhere but didn't know where. So I had a sign up, Ed Brown's Goochland Nursery, which was all right with him, so that's where it came from. He was a real good fellow. And the boys were pretty good too. And they're still living, of course. They live in Lake Wales. And so did Mr. Gooch live in Lake Wales. I don't know what else you want to know.
You continued with the partnership until...
Oh yeah, I continued with the partnership until 1960. Mr. Gooch passed on in 58, I believe it was. Then in 68, the boys decided they wanted to get out of it because they weren't getting too much. They got a little dividend, that's all. So in 68, I bought them out. And I had to go to the bank, and they were glad to let me have the money. I did real good, I think, because I had a 10-year balloon note, and I paid it off in 3 years. And from then on, we started the building, adding to, and doing more. I bought this piece from the Gooches, 10 acres here, where we were sitting. From the Gooches, and I don't remember what year now, but I got that. Then I had the contract to buy the north part as soon as they could arrange the setup with the partners. And we started from that. I had it leased up all the time. I don't remember what years, and I don't remember what year, but it was way back before I bought it. Had that 18 acres back there. We grew nursery stock landscape plants. We didn't grow any foliage plants then, but we started in it as soon as I had started before I bought the place, a little bit, not much, in the foliage business, and so we started shipping all over the country, and just increased all the time.
What kind of stock did you have when you started? What kind of stock did you have when you started over here?
I mean,
what did you have to sell? What did you start out selling when you first got started over here?
Oh, viburnums and ligustrum, the easiest things you could get to root. And I had an old Hollander that did all of my cuttings for me. He's the best employee I ever had, because he'd do more cuttings than 2 girls are doing today in one day. We made our own cuttings and started selling liners too, and whatever we could grow. and grew XRs, and somewhat the same stuff except the foliage. After, excuse me, soon after I bought it, why, I started improving it a little bit, and kept on when I built the greenhouses, this house, and the packing shed. Tom was the instigator in the packing shed, and another shed right beside the packing shed. He built that while I was up in North Carolina. I don't know why I'm so hoarse this morning.
Sounds good.
It doesn't sound good to me.
That's right.
Yeah. And we've increased, I'll go back a little bit. You asked me to say something about the stock we had and how much I paid for it. As I told you, I think that what I put in, what my part was, the shares wouldn't make the payroll in a month, for the month now. And,
how about your markets? How did you develop your market for your farm?
well, I first started developing the market by going to nursery meetings. And I'd take some plants in a pickup truck on the back to show people. They had to look at those plants before they ever left the meeting. Most of the time I sold something. Then I'd deliver it myself until I could afford to hire a truck driver. I had a small truck. Well, it was a 2-ton truck's all I had. And that's where I started. Then later on, when I got into it myself, I started going north and dealing with some of the people up there and make myself acquainted with everybody I could. And then word of mouth helped me from there on. And I sold, the first order I sold was to mail order people out of the state. And that was pretty good money it came out to be. Of course, since the canker, we lost a lot of money on that because we couldn't ship citrus out of the state even. I don't know what they thought the canker would do up north, but they thought something would do. So they wouldn't let us ship it.
That's typical of some of the disasters I'm sure that you faced
Yeah.
in your career. Can you mention some of the others?
Well, I guess the worst disaster we had would be a tie between 1960 and 1962. Donna was in 1960. When you saw some of the pictures on the wall, most of the benches were down, all the surroundings down. And we had pine trees in the east part of the nursery down here, a lot of them. And they broke off anywhere from 3 feet from the ground to 18 foot. It took, I think, 7 or 8 men, 7 days to clean the trees out. And our people had to straighten the plants up, and they were scattered all over. We had some paint cans out in the north part. And it blew so hard, it blew the paint off of those cans. It was terrible. And the next thing was the 62 freeze. We had 12 or 14 hours of 18 degrees. And the other 2 days, it wasn't quite that cold, but it's cold enough to freeze stuff. And we had steam heat outside for the liners to keep them in the wintertime, of course, and we had curtains down the bottom so to keep it warm. And we saved those, and this stuff, we almost lost everything we had. We saved enough liners to we could pot up, and some we could sell. And then the canker, that was quite a loss. We had to throw away $250,000 2.5-inch pots. And we had 150,000 of them sold for that winter. But they didn't go anywhere, they stayed in our dump. But I'm still holding on to some stock, so when let us loose, we'll have some stock to start on. It'll take us about 2 years to make up what we had, but we'll get it.
How about some of the organizations that you've worked with? I know you're sort of a charter, well, not sort of, I guess you're a charter member.
I'm a charter member, and I was with a group that we originally, the nursemen belonged with the Florist and Nursemen Association. And so some of the nursemen thought we was big enough now to be our own bosses and our own association. So that's what we did. And it was 1952. And we decided to pull loose and form our name and everything at a convention in 1952 in Miami. And first year we had a trade show in Winter Haven at the old Haven Hotel on the grounds there. And the only thing we had for exhibit hall was a ceramic put up like our shade house. But it worked all right. We did real good with it. And I went to all the meetings. I was on the board of directors for several years, and finally somebody put me up as president. I don't know who it was, but I did all right with it, I guess. Everybody's pleased. Didn't have many arguments. And I was vice president the first, when we formed the association, I was vice president, and Dave Stabler was the president. We stayed on for the next year. Several years later, I got up to be president. And I belonged to the Southern Nursemen Association. Excuse me. And I was elected president of that after 5 or 6 years on the board of directors. And it's a real good association. It's still a family-oriented group of people that attend the meeting and have the flower show and have the trade show. And the trade show is the only thing that keeps the Southern nursemen together, because the income from that keeps the association running, the expenses and everything, because their dues are very, very small. I think $100 or $150 a year. And it used to be less than that, $50 a year. And, let's see, I guess HRI would be the next thing. That's arm of the American Association of Nursemen, which is located in Washington, D.C.
HRI?
Yeah, HRI. It's for research on plants, anything connected to plants. And they're doing a real good job. Our good friend Bill Adams is president of the association this year. He has to be for 2 years. I don't know if this is his first year or second year. But then he has to stay on 2 more years as ex officio. And that's what I did, plus going through either 5 or 6 members of the board. And they're for 2 years each. So you have to be a long time to get up to the top. And they have endowments for research, HRI does, which is real good for the association of the whole industry. Some of them got $100,000 more dollars of endowment. Small nursemen, but we got a few dollars in it. And it's a real good outfit. And most of the research endowment from me and Bill Adams comes to Florida for the research. They have a committee that picks out the one they think is best and do most good. And that's not a committee that is connected in any way with where it should go in the state. They just we requested that when we gave the endowment that try to use it in Florida. And this worked out pretty good, I think. You got any more you want to ask?
Change tape.
All right. Okay. I go out in the package shed.
Did you want to say anything about the stamp collection?
Yeah,
What were you talking about, HRI?
yeah, we're still on HRI. Okay.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little about the stamp collection that you've got on the wall?
Yeah, that stamp collection represents the ones that had over $20,000 in their endowment. And I think at the time that collection was made out, there were 20 people that received that. So that's what it's for. I'm real proud of it because they got stamps way back when they had 5-cent postage, which is awful good, I think. And what else did you say?
Okay, the Goochland hedge.
Oh, well, the Goochland hedge, I had a fellow came from Michigan State University, and he went to college for horticultural work, and he had to work every summer in Michigan somewhere in a nursery doing something. In the last 6 months, he had to work in a nursery to get his degree. So he came down and started with me, and he planted that in '61 at Goochland side. He planted the plants and put them in there. And that's how long it's been there. It's getting kind of overgrown. We let it sometimes get overgrown, and it's awful big now. It's hard to tell, but I think you can still make it out that it's Goochland. We were proud of that one.
Okay, earlier you had talked about Donna in '60 and the freeze in '62 as some of the challenges that you had to face. What about competition from new nurseries there?
Well, so far they haven't hurt us very much, but a lot of new nurseries starting up. There's new nurseries, I think, every day going up, and there's some of them falling out every day too. But they give you a lot of problems because they cut their prices and do whatever they think is right, which is wrong to me, because you've got a good place, sell it for a price, and you don't give any discounts to them. We do give some discounts, but we don't cut the prices very much. And it's going to be that way from now on, I guess. A lot of people have nurseries, putting in nurseries, and I think it's for a tax write-off, because they're bound to lose money if they cut the price lower than we can. And we're losing money on some crops too, because we don't make the money back that it costs us to produce them. Tom's been figuring that out for a while. He knows it.
So during this span of this nursery, which goes back to the early 40s, has the university and its research and extension had any influence or help in some of the plant growing problems that you may have faced during this time?
Yeah, they've had some, and any time I wanted a question answered, I needed something I couldn't get myself, I went to the extension service or university and was able to get it. And start with, I go to the university a little bit. I knew the head man in the horticulture department at that time. He came from Mississippi. And we associated together, went to meetings together, and had a good time as well as talking about plants. And I have lost contact with the ones in university anymore. All I know, and some of you are so young up there, I don't know you, at the extension service here. They're always cooperating any way they could in anything we needed. I can't think of anything right now that I could mention other than you're always around. And we have a good relationship, I'll put it that way. It's like I have with the plant board, the inspectors, all very good and accommodating. And it's like you, if you want something, or we want something, we'll get it.
Anything else? Okay, can you think of anything else that
I just think
might wanna
that's
cover?
something. Well, I got a lot of pictures I've taken over the years that you might want to look at.
We're gonna try to take some photographs.
Okay, that'd be fine.
So when you're talking about Hurricane Donna, we can have some of those busted up pine trees.
Yeah, that'll show.
Blown over.
I don't know if I got a picture of Donna like I have on the wall out there or not, but you can look and see. You can use that one if you want to, the plaque on the wall. It's got all the pictures that I've taken. And I got some in the album in there. Pictures of conventions and pictures of committees. And we had the AAN convention was down in Miami, and we got some pictures of that. We got pictures of Commissioner of Agriculture, Orwell Freeman, United Commissioner of Agriculture.
Now, you didn't tell us about Nixon, did you?
No, I didn't. The only way I got to go up there on that, they have a contest on the best landscape jobs down in Florida, all over the country, in Florida especially, and I guess over the country. But we had some pictures to go up. Somebody, I don't remember who they were, did some good jobs. And they wanted to invite the heads of all the committees or arms of the AAN to attend. So I was able to go and be on the East Lawn, sit in the chair and listen to them present the awards. And we couldn't go upstairs or in the White House or wherever Nixon was sitting. I don't know where he was, but he had company and we couldn't go in there. But we walked all over the place and saw a lot of things. It was really interesting. Ms. Nixon hosted a party to serve drinks and cookies and things like that. And everybody went by and she shook hands with every one of us, I guess. I know she shook hands with me and my wife. It was real nice.
I noticed in one of those photographs, Lady Bird Johnson was.
Oh, yeah. I saw Lady Bird. She was having some kind of a thing on landscaping the roads and the highways, and I got to go to that one. I don't remember how I got to, but anyhow I did.
Do you have any hobbies?
I guess this is my only hobby. My wife said a lot of times, says, I wish that nursery was a woman so I could pull her hair out. I think that's pretty good. But I'm not so bad as I used to be. I come out every morning about 9 usually, stay till 11:30, and the bookkeeper picks me up at 2 o'clock when she goes to the post office and the bank. And I stay till 4 o'clock and she picks me up again. I quit a little bit earlier than the employees do every day. I don't want to be in the rush getting out. But I've enjoyed every bit of it, and I've had some hard times, and I've worked like everything to keep it going. I had a flower shop to start with in Lake Wales. I bought that before we started the nursery. I bought it on my own. The guy knew I was back, and he thought I was going to start a flower shop, so he wanted to sell it to me right away. And I bought it just before, I think it was about the part of December. And I didn't know what to order for Christmas, but I ordered and came out on top.
.7.
Huh?
What did you order? .7?
No, just cut flowers. Weren't poinsettias, you couldn't sell poinsettias in Florida then. Well, except somebody that had some, put them in the yard, that's all. But just cut flowers, make corsages, bouquets, and Mr. Gooch, well, I think was the best customer I had, for he and his wife. Because I had to go down there and decorate the house and make the bouquets up and have orchids for to use and everything else. And I don't know of any much else I can say, but I wouldn't give it. I do have something else to say. I got Tom Couturier is the general manager and vice president of the company, and he was one that runs the nursery today. I'm just here and I give him some advice, whether it takes it or not, but I think it takes it pretty good. Looks like it. And also, he's my son-in-law. He married my only daughter, and they've got 2 children, a girl and a boy, 14 and 12, I think it is. I'm real proud of them. They're doing a good job. So I don't have to worry about it going on. It'll go on. He'll take care of it until he wants to retire and he can get enough out of it to go. Then it's time for him to go. I hope he doesn't have to work as hard and as long. He can't work as hard because nobody can, as I have. But I hope he can retire at a younger age than I have, so he can enjoy it. I'm enjoying mine. I get a few months up in North Carolina every summer, half since 1978, I guess. I enjoy that. I like it. I met some friends up there. We have a bunch of Florida people right next door, so it's all together good time.
What was the most important thing you've ever learned?
Most important thing?
You ever learned in this business?
I don't know, just how to be good to people and associate with them, I guess. You had a question a while ago, yes. Somebody asked me.
What is it?
That's the one. I told you, whoever I was talking to, that the biggest mistake I ever made is a friend down in South Florida had been going to Jamaica for some reason or other for plants he wanted. So he told me about a deal in palms that would grow in pots and make a nice plant. So I went down with him and bought a bunch of them. And come back, he couldn't even give the darn things away. So that is the biggest mistake I made, I think. I made a lot of others, but they weren't big enough to mention. I'll still be making mistakes.
Okay.
I think that's about all.
Very good.
I hope it was good enough.